Hello, welcome to another edition of Cooking with the Professor. I'm Professor M, and my plan tonight was to make some apple dumplings. You get a large apple, core it, peel it, wrap it in pastry, fill the center part with sugar and butter, and then bake the whole thing. Pour cream over it, really delicious. But as I was shopping, I found a great deal on chicken. It was $1 a pound, which is less than €2 a kilogram for chicken breasts. Skinless, boneless, already prepared. So great deal on it. I bought a bunch of them. I have several dishes in mind for the chicken. I don't know how many of them I'll get finished tonight, but just hang out with me in the kitchen and we'll see how far I get. One of the things I wanted to do was bread and bake some of the chicken. So I have bread that is drying in the oven to make breadcrumbs. This looks like it's getting pretty dry. Now, if I had planned this ahead of time, I would have cut some pieces of bread and just let them sit out for a day or two on the counter, and they would have already been dry. Because this was a surprise for making chicken tonight, I took some of my fresh bread, cut it in squares as you can see. I've had it in the oven at about 200 degrees. It's been there for about an hour. I turn it every now and then. I started it in a regular pan and realized if I put it in this pizza pan with the holes in the bottom, it will get more airflow through it and it will dry faster. Next step, I'm going to break this into breadcrumbs. If it needs more drying after I do that, I'll put it back in the oven. The way I do this when I'm making crumbs out of crackers, to put them all in a plastic bag, go over them with a rolling pin. I don't know if it will work with these partially dried pieces of bread, but I'm about to find out. Rolling pin didn't work so well. Tried it with a meat tenderizer using the flat part so I didn't put too many holes in the plastic. That didn't work so well. I have an idea. Okay, now I'm ready. I bet this is going to work. Alright, I knew that sledgehammer would do the trick. Just kidding, I used a food processor on this. Did a pretty good job. Still some big pieces, but I think that'll work. Next, I'm going to add a bunch of spices to the breadcrumbs. This is a mixture called Mediterranean Marsala. I used a slotted spoon to remove some of the larger pieces of breadcrumbs, just to make a more even mixture. Now, if you buy breadcrumbs directly from the store in one of those cans or jars, you'd already be way past me on getting ready for this. I used the bread that I had made a couple days ago because I already had it on hand. I had trimmed the chicken breast earlier, put it in this container, and added milk to it. So it's been soaking in milk for a while. That keeps the chicken moist. It also helps the breadcrumbs stay with the chicken as you put it in it. Some recipes call for using egg instead. I use the milk. You could do it either way, or you could do both. I'm now going to dip the chicken in the breadcrumbs, place it in this cooking tray. Until this is full, I'm thinking 5 or 6 breasts will go in that. The rest of them I will decide some way of frying them. This is probably going to get messy, and I don't advise doing it on top of the stove the way I am. It just happens to be where I have the best light and the cameras, and I can show you what I'm doing. I can only fit 4 of them in this, so I will set this aside while the oven is finishing heating up to 375. I'm covering this with foil to keep it moist while it's baking. I'll bake it about 40 minutes. When there are about 10 minutes left, I'll peek under the aluminum foil and see what it looks like. If necessary, I'll take the aluminum foil off, and I might even put it under the broiler for a few minutes at the end to get a crispy top to the chicken, but I'll go based on how it looks. As I said, I'm still figuring out what to do with the rest of the chicken. It's more than I was quite counting on. I have already prepared some garlic, so I'm going to mince this and fry it in the smallest amount of olive oil that I can. Add it to the rest of the breading, so the remainder of the chicken breast will be garlicky. I'm going to add a few breadcrumbs in here to try to absorb a little of the oil, maybe coat the garlic, and keep it from clumping. We'll see how that works. I think that worked pretty well. I'll remember how to do that for next time, I hope. I'm going to mix this in with the breadcrumbs. Then I'm going to bread some of the remaining pieces of chicken. A few of them I will fry tonight, and a couple of them I will put in the fridge to fry maybe for lunch tomorrow. Before I fry the chicken, I'm going to get started the rest of what I'm having for dinner tonight. Earlier, I cut up a couple of zucchini. I'll put them on the heat with some olive oil. I also cut up a tomato that I will add to it. I added the tomatoes, and because I'm not adding any water, I used a generous amount of olive oil in it, about 2 tablespoons. And now that the pan is hot, I'm going to turn it down on medium-low and just let this cook for, it'll probably take 10 to 20 minutes, stirring it occasionally. When it looks about halfway finished, that's when I'll start the chicken, because that doesn't take very long. I have the chicken breasts all ready to go. I poured a little extra breadcrumbs on top of them, which will shake off as I put it in the pan. My pan's been warming up. I put a generous amount of olive oil in there. Two of the fried chicken breasts are finished. I'm about to do the second 2. That is delicious. Very tender. The garlic and bread make a nice extra flavor to the chicken. Very tasty. Thanks for joining me. Stay tuned to see the finished baked ones. And I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Cooking with the Professor.